Building a wrestling company in the 1920s is not easy. That difficulty is then amplified when the owner of the company dies. Miraculously, our company has managed to continue to grow in the past year despite losing our original owner and founder. In this episode, we deal with the fallout of new champions. But what may be more important, we are holding the memorial show for our fallen owner, Frank Norris. Stay tuned. Hey, what's up, guys? We are back for more Wrestling Association of the Mid-South here on TEW IX. We just wrapped up the biggest show of company history as we completed the Spectacle of Amazing Grapples. And we set some personal records, and we are turning right around, heading straight into the Amazing Grappling Spectacle 37. And we've given the night off to Yavraj Tunnell and Benson Sandy, bought a few character ideas, and now getting into the locker room incidents, and we've got Raymond Rickman looking to hang out backstage. I know this guy's got a gloomy personality, but I don't think he's going to cause any problems, so we will allow him in. We got an argument outside the venue, and Albie Dewberry getting into a heated argument with a fan. We're going to find our former champion, Albie Dewberry, not happy. We got some wrestlers court, and we're all done with the locker room incidents. We are going to be going with the hardline stance route, running the risk of someone walking out in exchange for a bit of positive morale in general amongst the locker room, so we'll see. And nobody chose to walk out. Grateful for that. And our show's going to get kicked off with a segment featuring our new junior heavyweight champion, Levi Andrews. Levi Andrews would come out in celebration as he made his way down to the ring, flashing his newly won junior heavyweight championship. Despite some initial hesitance, the crowd eventually came around and cheered on the movie star, though it's clear there are members in the crowd who are conflicted given how Levi Andrews became champion. During the celebration, Bronson Fraley would make his way to the ring. Fraley expressed his frustrations that Levi Andrews never held such celebration for the heavyweight champion during his reign, demanding a rematch with Neil Allman. Levi Andrews would state that he was simply appreciating a generational talent in himself. Andrews would not elaborate on a title match for Fraley, but would state that the former champion should go get ready to compete, as he will have a match this evening. So just furthering the butting heads of Bronson Fraley and Levi Andrews here. Levi Andrews, of course, had his Goonies with him, Blue Mage and JP Cromwell, and we get a segment rating of 42 to open up the night. And in our next match, we've got some tag team action. We actually get a segment rating of 30 as we have Friedrich Herzog and Saita Kuroki teaming up to take down the team of Diego Bergen and Craig Bean. Now, what is interesting here is that both of these teams are poor pairings. We just hit it out of the park with this one. Friedrich Herzog and Saita Kuroki do not work well as a team. Same with Diego Bergen and Craig Bean. That being said, we still get the crowd hotter. We get a segment rating of 30. Things could have been worse here, but we see a nice showing from Friedrich Herzog with an in-ring performance of 46. Saita Kuroki down at an in-ring performance of 23, which is a little disappointing. In our next match, we have the debut of Fumihiko Onoda, and he's going up against the former junior heavyweight champion, Wayne Blankenship, and Wayne Blankenship actually gets the victory here, putting on a segment rating of 23 for these two. Onoda with an in-ring performance of 26, so not a bad job on his debut. Wayne Blankenship staying at a 24, we'd like to see it be a little bit higher, but it seems that the trajectory of our boy, our former gem, Wayne Blankenship, has plateaued rather extremely. Moving into the next segment, following Wayne Blankenship's victory, the former junior heavyweight champion would hold the same unhinged look that he held just a week ago when he launched a post-match attack on Kyson Mays. However, Joel Cartwright would appear at the curtain, grabbing Wayne Blankenship's attention and causing him to leave the ring before any damage was dealt. So Joel Cartwright kind of preventing any more shenanigans on Wayne Blankenship's part. Wayne Blankenship knew that Cartwright had his eyes on him, so he didn't try any funny business here. He just got his ass out of that ring and headed towards the back with no confrontation to follow. Segment rating of 29 here, not a bad job. In the next contest, we see Bronson Fraley and Angry Bronson Fraley dismantling John Wolf. He would dominate John Wolf in just about 6.5 minutes, Fraley putting together an in-ring performance of 41, and Wolf with an in-ring performance of 27. Altogether, we see a segment rating of 30. And in comes the main event of the evening. We've got tag team action with our former junior heavyweight champion teaming alongside our new heavyweight champion, going up against the Goonies of Levi Andrews. You can see we created them into a stable. Lights, camera, action for Levi Andrews and his boys. Neil Allman and Albie Dewberry shined in this one. 43 and 45 in-ring performances respectively. Blue Mage keeping up with an in-ring performance of 37. You love to see it, but JP Cromwell down there at 22. And we were trying to steal the show here. We got a segment rating of 38. Not a bad showing from these four gentlemen. We get an overall rating of 36 for the show. And we're going to praise Blue Mage and Albie Dewberry as well. We had an absolutely huge attendance rate with over 180. We get $1,800 in ticket sales, but we are now paying Levi Andrews 70 times his former contract rate. We were paying him $10 a show. We're now paying him $700 a show. So that Levi Andrews bill alone put us back in the negative. And for those who have been watching for a while, and we are getting ready for the inevitable event that the Wham goes into bankruptcy, and we've got a few things brewing up, so make sure you stay tuned so you can see just what kind of wackiness that we get into once we have to kind of get creative a little bit. We've got some things planned to keep things interesting, to keep things entertaining, and to also keep the nature of this challenge as well. I can confirm that our plan is a success so far. Fumihiko Onoda has chosen to relocate and now resides in the Mid-South. We're going to send this man a new contract. We're going to make him exclusive to the Wham. And we're going to try to wrap this man up for 2 years at $20 a show. But we're not going to hear back until after our next show, The Amazing Grappling Spectacle 38, as we are ready to go. We just bought 4 character ideas, and all 4 of them were big gambles, so we discarded each and every one of those guys. Now let's get into the locker room incidents. Randy Edson brightening the mood backstage. This is what we need to see. Dean Florian doing much of the same. More cartoon drawings. You gotta love it. And the locker room incidents are completed. And it is worth mentioning that our overall morale is now at average in the locker room, so that will lift a lot of the penalties that we were getting. And we're gonna pull a rib on our boy Benson Sandy here. But here we are once more, just like that, right at the event of the Amazing Grappling Spectacle 38. And we've got a pre-show match. This was an experiment for myself. Now, given their poor tag team chemistry, I just had to see what their in-ring chemistry was going to be like when going up against one another. And we see a segment rating of 41 here. This was purely experimental. I do have plans for these two big boys in our main event scene, but we had to see just what was going down. But we get a nice segment rating of 41 as Herzog carried the match with an in-ring performance of 58 and Saita Kuroki with an in-ring performance of 24. Now, getting our show going, Neil Allman opens up the show by making his way into the ring and quickly grabbing a microphone. Neil Allman plays to the crowd for a moment, taking in the support from the spectators. Neil Allman first thanks the fans, but then states he's come out here to make a major announcement. On the behalf of the Wrestling Association of the Mid-South, the Frank Norris Memorial Show will be held in May to commemorate the pioneer that founded the Wham and helped construct the SPW, Frank Norris. Bronson Fraley would make his way to the ring, furious that Allman is the one to make this announcement. Fraley snatched the mic, stating that this was a privilege Neil Allman did not deserve. If you've been a part of the Wham since its conception, you would know that Bronson Fraley was in fact Frank Norris's right-hand man. And given that Neil Allman is the heavyweight champion, that's why he's the one out here making this announcement. And Fraley, the former champion, as well as someone who is very close to Frank Norris, this just gets him right under the skin. So we see a nice segment rating of 43 to open up the show. And then in our next match, we've got the junior heavyweight champion, Levi Andrews, putting himself in action against a man competing in his second match here in the Wham, Fumihiko Onoda. And Levi Andrews does put his junior heavyweight championship on the line, but Levi Andrews does benefit as well from the physical interference from JP Cromwell. Now, JP Cromwell is escorting Levi Andrews to the ring. He's not running in and making this flash appearance or anything like that. But Levi Andrews, just snags the referee Kamari Bryant for a moment, and JP Cromwell just levels the much smaller Fumihiko Onoda, thus creating the avenue for an easy pinfall victory and Levi Andrews securing his championship. This is his first defense of the championship, and we get a segment rating of 26. Levi Andrews had an in-ring performance of 35, and Onoda had an in-ring performance of 19. Moving into the next match, we have a triple threat match featuring 3 of the newer heavyweights on the roster, Craig Bean, Diego Berrigan, and Dean Grunge. Now, I'm really liking what I'm seeing. from Diego Berrigan here. Now this match didn't set the world on fire by any means, but Craig Bean had a nice performance of 38, Berrigan 34, and Dean Grunge down at a 20. He is rusty, so we'll give him a little bit of time to get acclimated here to the WAM. But Craig Bean and Diego Berrigan continuing to impress as Craig Bean picks up the victory here. Now in our next match, we've got some junior heavyweight action. Joel Cartwright, Yavraj Tanel. Joel Cartwright picks up the victory in 7.5 minutes. Cartwright just is developing an identity of putting up great performances here. He was off his game, but he still had an in-ring performance of 38. Tanel with an in-ring performance of 27. And together, they get a segment rating of 30. Now following Joel Cartwright's victory, Wayne Blankenship flanks the victor, beginning a brutal beatdown that Yavraj Tanel would even take part in as well. As Kyson Mays is still injured, there was nobody to come to the aid of Joel Cartwright, which would leave him in a bad state when the attack concluded. So we just get a segment rating of 22, but we do see Wayne Blankenship carrying out more shiesty heel tactics and Yavraj Tanel even taking part here. So we do see a dip in performance in this rating, but hopefully we can pick things back up. And we see Albie Dewberry defeating Blue Mage in 10.5 minutes by submission. Now Blue Mage is like 6'7", and Albie Dewberry is a junior heavyweight, so this is a pretty big deal for Albie Dewberry. But we get a segment rating of 31, not the rating we were hoping for. And Dewberry gets an in-ring performance of 36, Blue Mage with an in-ring performance of 30. These boys were trying to steal the show, but I think the pressure got to them, because I know that these two can produce a better rating than 31. But either way, that is how we end the night, with Albie Dewberry standing tall and making a statement that he is coming back for that junior heavyweight championship, taking down one of Levi Andrews' big boys. So altogether we see a show rating of 32. We actually had our best two segments to open up the night, one being a pre-show match with Friedrich Herzog and Saito Kuroki, and then just kind of some decent matches to follow, but some monumental moments as Albie Dewberry picks up a big victory in his pursuit of Levi Andrews, and then of course Neil Allman and Bronson Fraley having a huge stare down, and then of course Joel Cartwright, Wayne Blankenship. That storyline is continuing to develop as well. We're going to praise Albie Dewberry and Friedrich Herzog here, and only lost $58 on this show, and honestly I couldn't tell you what is causing it or what is the dictating factor, but Levi Andrews' contract has gone back down to $10 per show, so it jumped up to $700 for a month or something like that, and then it went back down. And I also noticed that our show attendance, we had an attendance rating of 182 for this show, and that was with the expensive contracts, and then it went back down to 93. So if there's anyone who knows more about this game than I do, sound off in the comments, let me know why that is. But otherwise, I am certainly going to take advantage of that because Levi Andrews is so dang overpriced if he is actually worth $700 a show, because the man just won't wrestle more than 5 minutes. And you can also see that Alexander Keith, he's another one, his contract went up to $1,000 per show, and now it's gone back down to $20 per show. So I really don't know what's going on. I didn't change anything on my end. I'm not pulling any shenanigans, but I would love to know why that is. And our sponsorship money just absolutely popped up for whatever reason. Now, there was a season finale involved somewhere in there, but I'm really unsure just what caused this spike, and it seemed to have gone back down. But if that's going to be, I am certainly going to send an offer to this sleazeball, Christopher Hartwell. Now, you might be thinking, what are you doing bringing in a negative personality? But if he accepts a contract, I'll tell you exactly what we're going to do. And as we continue to just check on stuff, it is worth noting that our locker room morale is in fact average, confirmed. And you can see all these positive factors playing a part nowadays, and even a few extra bonuses like Dean Florian and Randy Edson doing cartoons. And as you can see, the hardline stance, while risky, it does give you a bonus factor into this morale, and that has certainly helped transform the morale from poor to average. And we do get Christopher Hartwell to accept the contract, which is a good thing. Now, this is a sleazy man, but he has got some really nice skills. He doesn't have a lot of weaknesses. He's got good experience even. He's almost at the level where he can compete with a road agent with the amount of experience that he has. good booking reputation and skill, so you can count on that he's more than likely going to end up joining our booking team. Pretty decent fundamentals, no bad physical traits. His personality is kind of exhausting, but hey, this is 1928. I'm sure most people are just rather unpleasant to be around. And not to mention, this man has been doing work throughout the save. Look at all the matches that he has been a part of. So this is an established veteran in the wrestling industry, and we brought him on. He is going to be inserted into the junior heavyweight division, and when one sleazy personality comes in, another is going to leave. Yes, unfortunately, the T-Man, Yavraj Tunnel, who has spent the last 3 years here with the Wham, is going to be taking a hike. And we're just going to straight up release him because I really don't think that we're going to need him. He's annoyed right now, and we're firing him. So he's not going to want to come back anytime soon, but I think that's going to be a-okay. And in other related news, we've got Fumihiko Onoda accepting his exclusive 1-year deal. We are starting to see females coming into play. Veronica Lutter, she is the daughter of Jay Lutter, and I'm gonna wait a little bit to pull the trigger on a female division. Now I do have Kuni Hashiguchi, who is going to be ready to go in the ring whenever I need her to. But my strength is not booking a women's division of 2, 3, or even 4 women. We're gonna wait until we can have a little bit bigger of a roster, a little bit more parity, and as well creating just a little bit of security that knowing that SPW is not going to poach any of the first few ladies that come into play here. But we're going to keep an eye on Veronica Lutter. She's probably going to become rather goated. Although I am going to contradict myself just a little bit here. Gabriela Suarez. She is the sister of Emilio Suarez, who is also the owner of Viva La Lucha. She is currently an unemployed rookie right now, and I'm going to bring her on to be a manager. Look at these performance abilities. 97 charisma, 78 microphone, 62 acting, 82 star quality. She's going to be a great wrestler, and we're not going to use her for any kind of wrestling for a while. But I want to get her beside somebody. I'm going to spend a $200 trial, show her what America is like, and see if she would like to move and relocate over to the Mid-South. It's worth a shot. And Gabriela Suarez does accept the contract. And funny enough, on her first show, Gabriela Suarez has been stranded due to travel problems and will not be able to make the show. I hope she survives here in 1929. But you can also see that we swapped out Friedrich Herzog for Christopher Hartwell here on our booking team. Christopher Hartwell has a booking reputation and skill of 79 or so, and Friedrich Herzog is in the high 40s, I believe. So we made the swap here. Friedrich Herzog did not love it, but we ended with a good amount of creative energy. Raymond Rickman is back and looking to be used for work this evening, and unfortunately I do not have any use for this guy. So knowing that he's got a gloomy personality, I don't want to tell him that I don't have any use for him, because I don't want the guy to go on a bender, to go down a slippery slope. So unfortunately there's not a spot for him. Friedrich Herzog and Bronson Fraley having an issue. We don't love this. We're going to find Friedrich Herzog. Bronson Fraley is pleased, and Friedrich Herzog isn't too upset, so that's a good thing. Saita Kuroki getting into an argument with a fan outside of the arena. Our big names are causing big problems here tonight. We're going to find Saita Kuroki. He is unhappy at this action, and he's already annoyed, and it had a small negative impact upon him. This was not the correct move for Mr. Kuroki. And with all that out of the way, it's time to get into the next show, the Amazing Grappling Spectacle 39, held in front of 91 people here in Oklahoma City. We've got a pre-show match opening the night up as Black Bull gets himself back in action. It's been a while since we've seen the boy, and he defeats Roger Stagg, who will be wrestling his last match here in the Wham in this contest. And Roger Stagg does do the job for Black Bull as Black Bull picks up a victory and hopefully a little bit of momentum, and we'll see if this man can reignite his career at all. Now the match that starts the night off, a triple threat between some junior heavyweights. We've got RT Lincoln picking up his first singles victory against Fumihiko Onoda and Dean Florian. Now it's been a long time coming for RT Lincoln picking up his first victory here. He was off his game, but he still had an in-ring performance of 28, the best in the match. Fumihiko Onoda at 25. We're really hoping to see better things come from Onoda, but we're going to give him some time. and then Dean Florian with an in-ring performance of 27, as we get a total segment rating of 24 for this match. Now the next match, we've got Craig Bean and Diego Berrigan. These are two guys that we saw in a triple threat last week. Craig Bean with an in-ring performance of 30, and Diego Berrigan an in-ring performance of 34. Now you'll see that the referee lost control and stopped the match. That's not exactly what happened, but we do see a no contest with this one. But what go on to take place is Brian Hatcher, Charlie Thompson, and John Wolf come out to the ring, taking out Diego Berrigan and Craig Bean. Brian Hatcher, seeming to be the leader of this attack, strikes the combatants as his backup prevented any kind of retaliation. Brian Hatcher would then go on to make a statement that he, alongside some other disgruntled workers, will not allow their spots to be taken by newcomers who have not paid their dues. So we've got some jealousy, a little bit of uprising. Brian Hatcher, Charlie Thompson, and John Wolf not going to let Craig Bean and Diego Berrigan and even Dean Grunge take the spot that these guys have had for a while, as the heavyweight scene is becoming a little crowded and spots are becoming a little bit harder to come by. We get the start of a storyline brewing here, the crowd's at white hot, and we get a segment rating of 26. And in this segment, Albie Dewberry comes to the ring, calling out the boss, junior heavyweight champion, Levi Andrews. Albie Dewberry proceeds to expose Levi Andrews' egotistic and self-centered ways, and the fans are even beginning to side with Dewberry as their cheers become louder as he goes on. Levi Andrews would then interrupt this promo with his goons on each side, stating that Albie Dewberry is merely jealous that the fans don't love him like they love Levi. The fans would respond with a hail of boos, to which Levi Andrews was clearly bothered by. Levi Andrews would become angry, shocked that the fans were now cheering against him. He would then hastily schedule a rematch for the title, where there will be no disqualifications and no restrictions, promising to take Dewberry out, as this will be the only chance to regain his championship. Segment rating of 35 here. Albie Dewberry not as strong on the mic as he is in the ring, but still not a bad rating here. Now we get a big tag team match as Joel Cartwright and Kyson Mays take on Wayne Blankenship and a debuting Christopher Hartwell. And we actually see Christopher Hartwell pick up the victory by pinning Kyson Mays here. Joel Cartwright is now, for the second time, really off of his game. Not something that you love to see. Although Christopher Hartwell, in-ring performance of 35, Wayne Blankenship 31, and it is worth noting that Cartwright, even while off his game, the highest performer in the match at 39. So the crowd's still loving it, and we see the debut of Christopher Hartwell picked off with a victory. Now in our in-ring main event, we've got Bronson Fraley, Friedrich Herzog, and Saita Kuroki competing to solidify the number one contender for Neil Allman's heavyweight championship. We got Bronson Fraley coming out victorious here after pinning Saita Kuroki. Now Bronson Fraley had a performance of 38, Herzog with a performance of 43, and Kuroki down at 26. So we're seeing some really good things from Fraley and Herzog. Kuroki still in that mid-20 range. But regardless, Bronson Fraley has secured his spot to challenge Neil Allman for the heavyweight championship. And to end the evening, we would see Neil Allman showing no fear as he came straight to the ring following the victory. The two shared an intense stare down, though no physical conflict came about as the two get set to clash once more later this month at the Frank Norris Memorial Show. So we close out the night with a segment rating of 41, not too bad there. And in total, our show gets an overall rating of 34. Not the best show, but not bad. No weak points here, but nothing really stood out as great. We're going to continue to praise Albie Dewberry and Saita Kuroki because I know they're a little mad at me. We lost $161 in this show, and we finally do bump up to 21 popularity in the Mid-South. It's not been easy to gain popularity with the state of the industry as low as it is. And after that performance, Roger Stagg is officially gone from the Wham. It was nice to get a guy that we had our eyes on for a while, but he really didn't do anything to wow me. You know, he put up a 25 in a heavyweight championship match and then a segment rating of 20 in his last match. So nothing crazy from Roger Stagg. Not really chomping at the bit to get him back on the roster, especially since we do have to pay a little bit for his travel. And in more contract news, we did lock up Kamari Bryant to an exclusive contract deal now, so we don't have to worry about him going to SPW. and losing our referee. And we have finally arrived to the Frank Norris tribute show here on May 28, 1928, 1 year since the death and passing of our user character Frank Norris. It has been 1 year since Levi Andrews has taken over the ownership duties of the WAM, and we are here to deliver a great show, not just for the fans, but for the workers involved as well. And we're going to start the night off with a pre-show match between Christopher Hartwell and RT Lincoln. Christopher Hartwell actually got outperformed by RT Lincoln, not something I was expecting here, although Hartwell does pick up the victory. Hartwell with an in-ring performance of 30, RT Lincoln with a nice in-ring performance of 35 here, and a segment rating of 30 overall. I've been saying it since he's been around. RT Lincoln puts up good performances if he's got a good dancing partner to do it with. If he's not working with an established worker, those numbers seem to dip. Not a bad way to get the night started. Our actual show begins with a match between Brian Hatcher and Diego Berrigan. And Brian Hatcher picks up the victory over Diego Berrigan. And you'll see that Charlie Thompson had something to do with this as well, and he made his mark on the match. Diego Berrigan with an in-ring performance of 35 and Brian Hatcher with an in-ring performance of 28, but we do see the old heads of Brian Hatcher and Charlie Thompson pick up a victory on the newcomer Diego Berrigan with a total in-ring performance of 29. Now our next match fell a little flat of expectations here. Friedrich Herzog, nice performance of 47 here, but Randy Edson only had an in-ring performance of 25 as Friedrich Herzog delivers a dominating victory here at the Frank Norris tribute show, segment rating of 32. We were hoping to get a Herzog Saita Kuroki match here. However, Saita Kuroki is actually working for CWB tonight, so we cannot use the big man. And this is the first time in this whole save that we have actually had any kind of scheduling conflicts. So we've been fortunate to not have to worry about it, but we are going to have to start being more mindful of it. Now in our next match, we see Joel Cartwright and Wayne Blankenship finally get the opportunity to come to blows with one another. And Joel Cartwright does in fact pick up the victory here, establishing himself as a junior heavyweight that is a serious contender and a serious threat to the champion. And we see Joel Cartwright with an in-ring performance of 42. Wayne Blankenship had a great in-ring performance of 36. Nice job there. These two have great chemistry, and although Joe Cartwright was really off of his game, we do not get a bad match here. Segment rating of 36 overall. Moving on into the next match, and we had Albie Dewberry challenging Levi Andrews for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. And Albie Dewberry does in fact win the championship back. During the match, we would see JP Cromwell attempt to interfere, however it would backfire. And not only would it backfire, Black Bull would rear his head out there and make a huge impact, getting back at the man who has just torn him down since the passing of Frank Norris. And rather poetic justice for Black Bull to make a big statement and a big impact here at the Frank Norris tribute show, as Frank Norris really was the only one who believed in Black Bull. But overall, Albie Dewberry in-ring performance of 47, Levi Andrews in-ring performance of 35, and Albie Dewberry becomes the first ever two-time junior heavyweight champion. And we've got our main event. Happy to see that the main event of the evening does get our best rating, and we've got Neil Allman defeating Bronson Fraley in an emotional battle for the heavyweight championship. You can see here Neil Allman in-ring performance of 45, Bronson Fraley in-ring performance of 38. We had a creative finish that was a success, and that propelled us to a segment rating of 41, and you'll even see Gabriela Suarez doing some good work ringside. And we do have Gabriela accompanying Bronson Fraley. A great match to end the night with, but we've got another segment to keep us going. And we do see Neil Allman just celebrating a huge championship victory, sending a message that he will welcome any challenge. Segment rating of 53 to end out the night. And all in all, that will give us a show rating of 41. Another really strong performance here for the WAM. And we are just going to continue to hammer in Albie Dewberry to keep him happy. And we're also going to compliment Joel Cartwright as well. We lost $4 on this show, so we are really sitting right there breaking even, but as we know our financial situation will need some addressing, and it's going to come. I can assure you that, so make sure you stay tuned into this series. And you can see the feedback has been very positive for the Frank Norris tribute show. It was a good show. I appreciate that. So I'm glad that we got some positive feedback there. And as we have completed another big event for the Wrestling Association of the Mid-South, this is a great place to end the episode. As we begin to finish out 1928, Neil Allman has got a big heavyweight championship reign to look into, and Albie Dewberry has just recaptured the junior heavyweight championship, not to mention all of the fallout from Levi Andrews, Bronson Fraley, Black Bull, and more. So please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is coming out, and shout out to all the real ones on Patreon. You guys are awesome. Your support is greatly appreciated, and it means a whole lot. As for everyone else, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.